My husband thinks changing our daughter's diaper is beneath him because she's a girl, and I'm realizing I didn't marry a father. I married a lazy, entitled manchild with excuses. Posted by you/crochet19. My husband, 23M, and I, 22F, have a beautiful 8-week-old daughter. He seemed somewhat excited to be a dad throughout my pregnancy, but I feel like maybe he wasn't as excited as I thought or hoped. We had a miscarriage in November of 2023, and he seemed more excited during that pregnancy than he did this time. Throughout the pregnancy, he would say he was excited but that he didn't want to change diapers because it's gross. I had a talk with him about how I understand why it can be intimidating, because he is a man and she is a baby girl, and she has different parts than he does. It can feel intimidating to clean those parts correctly because he has never changed a diaper before. I reassured him that I would be here to help and show him what to do. He even practiced putting a diaper on a stuffed teddy bear before I had the baby. I thought he would get over it after I had the baby, but he did not. He refuses to even be in the room while I change her. Every time I bring it up and ask, "So when do you want to start changing her diaper?" he just says, "We're doing this again." I do not regret having my baby. I have always wanted a baby and was definitely ready, but I feel like he was not ready. Am I overreacting? How can I talk with him about this? Edit to add, I asked him what is so gross about changing diapers, and he said, everything. The different parts, and then kind of trailed off, like there was more to that sentence than what was said. He said that she is never away from me, so why should he have to do it? He said, "Why would I take her from you to change her and then bring her back when you could just do it?" And I said, "Because you're her dad. What if something happened to me? Or what if I had to leave her with you for an hour or two?" And he said at that point he would look it up on YouTube and wouldn't leave her sitting in a soiled diaper. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I think you need to keep pushing him. I'd start by digging into what he thinks is gross about it. Touching poop, the smell, female parts? Talk about what he would do if you were incapacitated and the options were to change the diaper himself or have her physically harmed with a rash. What will he do when you get sick and need more rest? If he's willing to try, will he stay in the room while you do it as a first step? Then do it with you watching as another baby step? Or does he refuse to be in the room at all? If he won't try, I think I'd insist on therapy. You can't just opt out of parts of parenting that are essential to a baby's health. Ops response. I have mentioned the incapacitated part, and he acts like, "Oh, that will never happen," but you never know what can happen. I will keep pushing him and try to get him to at least stay in the room and then move forward from there. Commenter 2. I think he underestimated what it means to be a dad. This is just the beginning of him getting out of his responsibilities. You'll see this more as time goes on. The best way is to make him do it. Leave the house for a couple of hours. He'll be forced to change her. Ops response. My only concern with forcing him to do it is that he won't do it well or correctly, and she'll end up with a rash or a UTI. Has Ops' husband held the baby recently? He holds her for me sometimes so I can get a few things done or eat a meal in peace, but up until recently, he didn't hold her because he wanted to, only because I asked him to. I fussed at him about why he doesn't hold her and asked if he even loved her, and he said of course he does. After that, he started making more of an effort to hold her. I exclusively breastfeed, so unfortunately nobody else can feed her because she won't take a bottle. Op explains the background on her marriage and kids. We got married in February of 2022 and started talking about kids in December 2022. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and he works 12-plus-hour shifts, so he feels like I should take care of the baby in the house, laundry, dishes, cooking, cleaning, etc., and he handles all the maintenance, like if something on our vehicles needs fixing, needs an oil change, or if the sink has a leak or something. Other than doing maintenance or outside chores like cutting the grass, he is useless. If I ask him to help with the inside chores like cleaning the bathroom, he will do it, but only after he complains first. Is Op's father-in-law in the picture? Did he teach Op's husband the life lessons when it comes to raising children? His dad is not in his life. He has never even met his father. I think that is part of the problem. He had no father, therefore no role model for what a dad should be. Update 1 day later. So I read all 416 comments on the previous post. You all collectively agreed that I was not overreacting, that my husband is a crappy father and husband, that I married a loser, and that I should leave if he doesn't change his ways. So after he got home from work last night, the baby needed to be changed, so I asked him to come into the other room and simply observe while I changed the diaper, and he agreed. I said he could observe a few diaper changes, and then when it was just a plain pee diaper, I would let him know that it's his turn, and he once again argued about not wanting to change diapers. I told him that he will eventually have to suck it up because he is a parent now, and if he didn't want to be a parent, he shouldn't have agreed to become one. He said he didn't want to be a dad as badly as I wanted him to be and that he only got me pregnant because I wanted to be a mom so badly. I reminded him that he was the one who started the conversation about kids several years ago when he said he wouldn't mind having a kid. He said, "Yeah, I wouldn't mind," and then I cut him off and said, "But you only want the fun parts and not any of the gross, non-fun parts?" I told him that I'm on the verge of being burnt out and that I feel like a married single mom. He said I was bashing him, and I said I wasn't bashing, but simply pointing out the obvious. Then I left the room because the baby was crying to be fed. He joined me in the other room a few minutes later to apologize and restated that he just doesn't want to change diapers. I asked him what the issue is with changing diapers, and he said he feels like a man shouldn't change little girls' diapers. He is afraid people will see him as a PDF file. I told him nobody will see him as a PDF file because that is his child. It would be different if he volunteered to change a little girl who wasn't his child. I told him that he should start sooner rather than later because the diapers won't get any easier, they will only become nastier. In the end, he agreed to observe a few diaper changes to learn what to do, and then start with pee diapers and maybe eventually change poopy diapers. He seems to have a serious issue with the poop part, but I told him we could get some rubber gloves and some masks and put peppermint oil on the mask so he won't have to smell it. One of you recommended the peppermint oil on the mask. Good idea, by the way. I will be asking him to join me for every diaper change between the time he gets home from work and the time we go to bed. Since I am a stay-at-home mom and he works, I will not ask him to get up during the night unless he just wants to. I know most of you will probably not like that, but for now, that is what we will do until he gets comfortable with daytime diaper changes. In a few days, on a night when he doesn't have to work the next day, I will ask him to get up and join us for the midnight diaper changes. I hope he will change and become a more active parent in our baby's life. To all of you who said I should leave because being a single mom is better than being a married single mom, I would rather be a married single mom who doesn't have to leave my baby with a stranger and go to work. At least this way, he goes to work and makes money, and I get to stay home with my baby. I will keep pushing him and working on him to make him a more active parent. I know we are too young to be having children, but I felt like I was more than ready. My oldest sister is special needs to the highest degree and has to wear diapers. So all my life, I have been changing diapers. I have helped several family members with their babies from newborn to age 2 to 3, so I have helped raise several babies, around 6 babies, so I knew being a mom was all I've ever wanted. I was just waiting for him to be ready, and I thought he was, but I guess not. Thank you for reading this update in the original post. I appreciate all advice and help. I apologize for my crap show of a life, lol. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Right, because he seems like a better option than a stranger. FYI, working moms don't drop their kids off with randoms off the street. I hope, for your sake, he gets better. But I hope, for your daughter's sake, you can find the strength to do what you need to do if he doesn't. Op's response. Well, I don't know anyone who works at a daycare, so in my opinion, it would be a stranger. One of the local daycare facilities where I live just had several people get arrested for giving infants Benadryl to make them sleep during nap times. I don't have any family members I trust who can watch her. Everyone I trust works. Plus, she is exclusively breastfed and refuses bottles, so until further notice, I can't leave her with anyone, even her dad, because they will have no way of feeding her. Commenter 2. If you are breastfeeding only, hand him the baby after she eats. He needs to know how to burp her as well. If you do any bottles, let him feed her. Babies can be gross, but taking care of them is how we bond with them. He doesn't know how much he would regret missing out on that. Like when you leave them alone together and all she does is cry for mom for 3 hours straight. Op's response. He does better at burping her than I do, actually. I always joke that it's because his hands are bigger than mine and cover more surface area of her little back. I usually hand her off to him to burp her, unless it's the middle of the night and he's asleep. Is it possible that Op's husband may have some kind of disorder? Yes, he does have OCD. Commenter 3. I feel like this would have been pretty helpful context to include in the post. It's extremely important. Having a child is a stressful experience, and stress can exacerbate his OCD. I have more sympathy for him knowing he has OCD. Yes, he needs to work on it, but at least he's not a creepy loser. Second update 1 month 2 weeks later. So, it's been about a month. I've talked it over with him again and again. We've argued about it a few times, the most recent argument being a few days ago. He has watched me change a handful of diapers, and I kept reminding him that he needs to do it and that he can start with pee diapers and eventually work his way to the gross poopy diapers. I started small. When I would change her, I would get her all cleaned up, and when the only step left was putting on a clean diaper, I would bring her to him with no diaper on, lay her on our bed, hand him the clean diaper, and say, "Here, do it." Of course, he complained, but I made him do it. After a few times of that, I brought it up again. That was when we had the most recent argument. We argued for a few minutes. He gave the same BS excuses about how it's gross and he doesn't want to do it, and I reminded him that being an adult, and especially a parent, means doing things you don't want to do sometimes. He feels like just because he goes to work, he is exempt from housework and taking care of our baby. I reminded him that I can't do 100% of the baby care and 100% of the housework. If he expects me to do 100% of the housework, then we will be a team and he will help with baby care. If he refuses to help with the baby, then he needs to help with the housework. The argument didn't end well, and I gave him the cold shoulder and some attitude for a few days. I also completely stopped doing housework. Laundry was piling up. Sink full of dirty dishes. The house was a wreck. It was bothering me because I hate for it to look like that, but I knew I had to stand my ground. For a few days, I did nothing but baby care. Then yesterday, he did a few loads of laundry because we barely had anything clean left. He finished eating his dinner before me. I asked him to take her so I could finish eating. He agreed and took her out of the room. A few minutes later, he pokes his head in the room, holding a diaper, and asks, "Is this the right diaper?" There were 2 different brands on the changing table, and we had to size up recently because our little lady is a chunk, so I guess he got confused. I said yes and immediately followed him into the other room to observe the diaper change and give direction if needed. He did a decent job on his own without my help. I was pleasantly surprised that he did it without me asking or arguing. I started to say thank you but decided against it because it's not like he's doing me a favor. He is doing what a dad is supposed to do. So instead, I gave him a fist bump and said good job. I asked him what made him decide to do it after all this time, and he said he was tired of me being on his tail about it all the time. So I guess I will stay on his tail about it and make sure he continues on his path of improvement. Thank you all for all the advice and help you have given. I'm slightly happy with this recent improvement but wish it had come a long way sooner. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I'm so glad he realized he needs to participate in raising his own daughter. Good on you for managing to make your point without yelling and screaming. I hope things continue to improve. Commenter 2. But he didn't realize he needs to participate? In her own words, he did it because he was tired of me being on his tail about it all the time. So now her solution is to stay on his tail about it. So she gets to be a mother to a man-child. I'm glad you're happy, Op, but I hope you have financial security for when you eventually get sick of mothering a grown adult. Op's response. Thank you. I was almost ready to give up. I was tired of having the same argument over and over with no results. I mentioned staying with my parents and said I doubted he would even miss us, and he said he would. So maybe the idea of us not being around made him sad and he decided to be an active parent? I'm not 100% sure what happens in that man's brain, but as long as there's improvement, I won't question it. Commenter 3. I want to know what he thinks will happen if you leave him for being unsupportive. Will he just not see his daughter at all? Or let her sit in a filthy diaper the entire visit so he gets in trouble for neglect? Or will he have to step his game up because no one else is there to do it for him? Maybe he needs a new perspective and you need a lunch date with friends. Op's response. We discussed potential divorce, and I asked him how he thinks he will get to see her when he won't, and doesn't know how to change her, bathe her, feed her, or rock her to sleep. He said he would do it if we divorced, and I asked why he won't do it now, and his dumb response was, "Why would I do it when you can just do it?" I know a lot of comments are saying that this isn't a win, but it is what it is. Commenter 4. Why would I do it if you can just do it? See how foolish that is? Why would I be married to a man making more work for me and contributing nothing but a paycheck and a bad attitude? I can avoid all of the mess you create, have my own paycheck and my daughter, and I can live without the extra work and complaining you provide. Seriously, what did he expect his role was in a marriage? I'm single at 40 and it sucks. I dearly wanted a husband and kids. But every single relationship got to this point, the point where I had to look at the man in my life and ask, what the FCK is the point of you? And there isn't a single one I regret leaving. Screw being someone's kitchen appliance for life. Op's response. I'm almost to that point. If he doesn't get his crap together and continue improving, I'm done. My mom has a spare room and would love nothing more than getting to see her grandbaby on a daily basis. Op should get her mother-in-law involved in order to talk with her husband. His mother enables him. The last time she and I spoke about it, she said he would probably never change diapers and that I should just give up. She also said that because I get to stay at home and he has to work, taking care of the housework is my job and that I should be grateful to be able to stay at home. She was a single mom who had to work, take care of her kids, and clean the house, and her kid's father was a deadbeat, so she feels like I should be grateful for being able to stay home and keep the house and the baby. Editor's note. Ops last update was titled Final Update, so it's uncertain whether any more updates will follow this one.